I thought I was alone. But as soon as I pressed record, something inside the abandoned hospital was watching me. Every step I took, every sound I made, I wasn't just exploring, I was being filmed. And what I captured will haunt you forever. I was alone. But something inside that hospital was watching me long before I pressed record. The abandoned hospital stood at the edge of the city, forgotten by time and avoided by everyone who lived nearby. No lights, no security. No sound of traffic or life. Just broken windows staring back like empty eyes and a silence so heavy it pressed against my chest. People said the hospital was shut down after a mysterious incident years ago. Some claimed patients disappeared. Others said staff refused to return after one night. There were no official records. No news reports, only whispers. That mystery alone made it perfect for my video, at least. That's what I kept telling myself. I arrived just after midnight. The moon was hidden behind thick clouds, and the building looked darker than the night itself. I grabbed my camera, switched on my LED light, and felt a strange mix of excitement and fear crawling through me. My hands were steady, but my stomach wasn't. The front doors were already open, hanging crooked on their hinges, swaying slightly even though there was no wind. It felt less like an entrance and more like an invitation. The moment I stepped inside, the air changed. It was colder, thicker. It smelled like rust, damp concrete, and something that had been trapped there for a very long time. My LED light cut through the darkness, revealing long corridors filled with debris, overturned wheelchairs, and peeling paint hanging from the walls like dead skin. Every sound echoed. My footsteps didn't sound like they belonged to just one person. Each step bounced off the walls and returned a split second later, as if someone else was walking just behind me, perfectly matching my pace. I stopped moving. The echoes stopped too. That's when I realized how quiet it really was. No insects. No distant city noise. Not even the sound of air moving. It felt like the building was holding its breath, waiting for something or someone. I swallowed hard and raised the camera. I started recording. "This place has been abandoned for years," I whispered, forcing confidence into my voice. Hearing. My self-talk made the silence feel even louder. My voice sounded wrong in that space, like it didn't belong there. I tried to focus on the lens, on the idea that this was just another exploration video, but deep down, something felt off. The darkness. Ahead didn't feel empty. It felt occupied, like the hallways were watching me back, learning my movements, listening to my breathing. My chest tightened, and a chill ran down my spine for no reason I could explain. I took another step forward, and somewhere deep inside, the hospital, something moved. I didn't know it yet, but pressing record was the moment everything changed as I moved deeper into the hospital. My LED light revealed long hallways that seemed to stretch endlessly into darkness. Broken hospital beds were pushed against the walls, their metal frames bent and rusted as if someone had thrown them aside in a hurry. Torn curtains hung from ceiling rails, swaying gently even though there was no wind.
Ow.
The floor was littered with shattered glass, old paperwork, and stains I didn't want to think about for too long. Every few steps, a door creaked softly, not slammed, not forced open. Just a slow, careful movement like someone testing it. The sound made my stomach twist. There was no breeze, no open windows nearby. Yet the doors continued to shift slightly, their hinges crying out in the silence. A brief moment, the ceiling lights flickered above me. A weak flash, barely a second. The power had been cut years ago. I froze in place, my LED light shaking as I aimed it upward. The darkness returned immediately, deeper than before, as if it had swallowed the light on purpose. I told myself it was just leftover wiring or my eyes playing tricks on me. But my heart didn't slow down. That's when I heard it. A soft click. It was faint but clear, sharp enough to slice through the silence. I lowered the camera and listened. The sound came again, a little closer, this time click. At first, I convinced myself it was my camera, adjusting focus, or the lens shifting slightly. Modern cameras make noises. I'd heard them 100 times before, but this sound felt different, too deliberate. It's clean. It sounded exactly like a camera shutter. I stopped walking completely. The echo of my last step faded, leaving the hallway. Completely still, I pointed my LED light straight ahead. The corridor was empty. No movement. No shadows crossing the walls. No shapes hiding behind the beds. Just darkness, stretching forward like a tunnel with no end. I let out a nervous laugh. Trying to break the tension. Old buildings make noise, I muttered to myself. Metal expands. Wood shifts. That explanation sounded weak the moment I said it. My body didn't believe it. My hands felt icy, even though I was sweating. My chest was tight, and my heartbeat was so loud I was sure the microphone was picking it up. With every step I took forward, the feeling of being watched grew heavier, like invisible eyes following me from behind doors and down side corridors. I kept glancing at my camera screen, half expecting to see something standing behind me. Nothing ever was, and somehow, that was worse. Still, I kept recording. Because stopping felt more dangerous than moving forward. Because turning back meant admitting I wasn't alone. Because deep down I had the unsettling feeling that whatever was watching me didn't want me to leave just yet. So I walked. On straight into the darkness, unaware that I wasn't the only one documenting what was happening that night. About 20 minutes in, I decided to stop and review my footage. Not because I wanted to, but because something inside me needed proof that everything I was feeling was just in my head. I stood outside what looked like an old operating room. The sign on the wall was barely readable, the letters scratched and peeling. Inside, surgical lights hung crooked from the ceiling like lifeless arms. I lowered the camera and checked the screen. That's when I noticed it. In the reflection of a shattered glass panel behind me, something didn't belong. At first, it was just a blur, a darker patch inside the darkness. I leaned closer to the screen, my thumb slowly dragging the clip backward. That's when the shape became clearer. Tall. Still standing at the very end of the hallway, my chest tightened. The figure didn't move. It didn't sway or flicker like a shadow should. It stood perfectly upright, as if it knew it was being watched. But didn't care. I turned around instantly, my LED light snapping toward the hallway. Nothing. The corridor was completely empty. No footsteps. No movement. No sign that anyone or anything had ever been there. The silence returned, thick and heavy. Pressing against my ears, I told myself the reflection must have been a trick of the glass. Maybe the angle. Maybe my own shadow stretching unnaturally. But my breathing wouldn't slow down. I turned back to the camera and replayed the clip again. This time I slowed it. Down frame by frame, the shape was still there. Clearer now. More defined. And then I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The shape was holding something in its hands. Not long, not sharp. Rectangular. A camera. The figure wasn't just standing. There it was filming. My fingers went numb. The air around me felt suddenly heavier, like the hospital itself had leaned closer. Before I could even process what I was seeing, my LED light flickered violently and shut off. Complete. Darkness, 2 seconds. That's all it lasted, but it felt endless. When the light snapped back on, I heard its footsteps, not slow, not careful, running. Fast, uneven, close enough that I could hear shoes scraping against the floor, breath struggling to keep up. The sound rushed past the hallway and disappeared around a corner, as if whatever it was didn't want to be seen anymore. I stood frozen, barely daring to breathe. That's when the realization hit me. Cold and undeniable. I wasn't just filming the hospital. The hospital was filming me. Every step, every breath, every moment of fear, something in that building wasn't. Just watching it was documenting. And I had a terrifying feeling that whatever it captured wasn't meant for me to see. I ran into the nearest room and slammed the door shut behind me. The sound echoed through the hospital, louder than I expected, like I had just announced exactly where I was hiding. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the camera. I twisted the lock and pressed my back against the door, listening silence. No footsteps, no movement, just my own breathing, sharp and uneven, filling my ears. I tried to calm myself, telling my body to slow down, but it wouldn't listen. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. I pulled out my phone and tried calling someone. anyone, no signal, not even a single bar. The room I was in looked like a storage area. Metal shelves lined the walls, most of them empty, some knocked over as if someone had searched through them in a hurry years ago. The air felt stale, untouched. My LED light flickered weakly, throwing long, distorted shadows across the floor. That's when my camera screen turned on by itself. I hadn't touched it. The screen glowed softly in the darkness, pulling my attention toward it like a magnet. A new video file had appeared at the top of the list. My throat went dry as I stared at it. I didn't record it. The timestamp made no sense. It said the video was recorded 5 minutes in the future. A cold wave of fear rushed through me, leaving my fingers numb. I told myself it had to be a glitch, corrupted metadata, anything logical. But my instincts screamed that this was something else, something wrong. With my chest burning and my pulse racing, I pressed play. The footage filled the screen it showed. Me, standing in the same room, in the same position, staring directly into the camera. My face was empty. No fear, no panic, no emotion at all. I wasn't blinking. I wasn't breathing. I looked wrong, like a hollow version of myself wearing my skin. Then I noticed the corner of the room. Something was standing there. A tall, shadowy figure, darker than the darkness around it. It didn't rush. It didn't twitch. It moved slowly, deliberately, as if it already knew there was no escape. Step by step, it crept closer to the version of me on the screen. I wanted to scream before I could react. The video ended abruptly. The screen went black, leaving only my reflection staring back at me. That's when I heard it breathing behind me. Not mine. It was slow, wet, uneven. Each breath sounded closer than the last, like something was standing just inches away. I felt the warmth of it on the back of my neck. My body locked up completely, fear pinning me in place. I didn't turn around. I couldn't, because some part of me already knew if I did. The next thing recorded wouldn't be a video. It would be my last moment. I don't remember how I got out of that hospital. One moment. I was frozen in that room, terrified to even breathe. The next, the memory disappears completely, like someone reached into my head and erased it. The only thing I remember after that is sitting in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my hands hurt. The engine was running. The windows were fogged up, and the sky in front of me was slowly turning gray as the sun began to rise. I was shaking uncontrollably. My clothes were damp with sweat. My throat was sore and my chest felt tight, like I'd been holding my breath for hours. I looked back at the hospital one last time. In the early morning light, it looked smaller, quieter, almost harmless. Almost I drove home without stopping, without thinking. I didn't even realize I was crying until I felt my face burn. Later that day, once my hands finally stopped shaking, I checked my camera. Most of the footage was corrupted. Entire sections were missing. Files refused to open. Some clips ended suddenly, cutting off mid-sentence or mid-step. It was like something had gone through the recordings and erased whatever it didn't want me to see, except one clip. Just one. A single frame. It showed me standing at the hospital entrance, seconds before I went inside. I was looking down at my camera, adjusting the settings. Behind me, reflected faintly in the glass doors, was another figure. Tall, still stood holding a camera, already recording. I deleted the footage immediately. I never went back to that hospital. I never tried to investigate what happened. Some questions don't need answers, because the answers follow you, but strange things still happen. Sometimes when I record videos late at night, my camera turns on by itself. The screen lights up, without me touching it. Sometimes I hear that familiar click, the exact same sound I heard in the hospital, a camera shutter, and sometimes just for a second. I catch a reflection in the screen, a shape, standing behind me. I don't turn around anymore. I'm sharing this because people still explore abandoned places for fun. They laugh at warnings. They chase views and thrills. They think these stories are just made up to scare people. I used to think that too, but trust me when I say this, some places don't want to be remembered, and some don't want to be disturbed. They don't scream. They don't chase you. They observe. They document. And some things don't just watch you. They record you back. If you enjoyed this terrifying journey into the abandoned hospital, don't forget to hit that like button. Okay, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss the next spine-chilling adventure. Trust me, you won't want to be alone for what's coming next.